Welcome to the Rock Zoom room with Ryan from Mother Mother. Good afternoon. Happy St. Patty's Day. You're not wearing green today. This is as green as I got.
I forgot it was St. Patrick's Day, and then I realized I don't know that I've ever celebrated that holiday once in my life.
What
But
is
I
your
I should start because people seem to have such an amazing time.
yeah. What is your cultural extraction, if I may ask?
I'm of Dutch
Okay.
descent,
Uh-huh.
but I grew up in a fairly agnostic setting.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, not a whole lot of sentimental holiday culture in my family.
Okay. And tell me about the room that you're sitting in right now. It looks kind of interesting. Rustic and playful.
Yeah, it's my apartment.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a big open space. There's a cool cement pillar. I like that.
Oh, I like that too. That's
Yeah,
an
that's
old where is
cool.
that an old warehouse?
It's like an artist building, an artist work live situation in Vancouver, and I
Okay.
think it's pretty old, but they've restored it, so the suites are fairly nice.
Yeah, I like loft style condominiums. There's so many of them in heritage buildings in downtown Toronto now. I really like to walk through them, especially the ones with the original floors in the hallways. They're just beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
Yeah. So how was your winter? It was a bit of a weird winter out there, wasn't it?
Yeah, winter. I mean, God, everything's like murky. The
Hmm.
past, the past is so murky, and especially COVID. It kind of just blended into one long haze. But I mean, I think myself and the band have been really fortunate. There hasn't been any major devastation to note. We all got through just fine.
Yeah. Now you talked about working on new songs in the last year and how difficult it was. And I've talked about this with a lot of people because most of us have been shut down quite significantly in the last couple of years. I know for myself, I was always able to get up and go around, and I've had to dig deep into liking my own company. Maybe it was a little bit easier for me because I was born an only child, but you were always inspired by the things that go on around you. And you found a challenge in digging deeper to inspire new things in your art. And I saw your TED talk being a creative scavenger. And I thought to myself, you learned a few tricks from that lecture, didn't you?
Yeah, right. Feed on your own advice.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I mean, I think what's daunting about deriving the creative force by yourself is that you're on the line. What you're made of is on the line, and it can be humbling when you're not producing. That can lead a person to believe that they don't possess what it takes, but that's not true. You have to disavow that as quickly as possible and understand that you are simply a vessel for the experience of life to pass through and come out in so many different amazing ways. And often just a perspective shift can change that. So in the pandemic, initially it was challenging, but once I kind of got into the rhythm of being alone and seeing the state of things through a creative lens, then music started to flow and the theme started to give birth to itself. And looking back, I think it was a really positive, healthy, creative chapter.
How much interaction were you able to have with the rest of the band members, and how important was that to you throughout this process?
We were never together in one room once making this record, but we were very connected. A lot of emailing, a lot of sharing the ideas, and kind of huddling around, the vision, and that certainly helped the vision stay on course and come to fruition for sure.
How does it feel to be getting back out again?
Great, yeah. A daunting, it's a great amount of energy to expel on,
Hmm.
and it's quite a contrast from being somewhat sedentary for a couple of years, um,
Hmm.
even just like physically, just like moving around that much every night. Um, but we're getting back into the groove. It's certainly better than hanging out at home by a mile. So yeah, it's good.
Hayloft 2 is the latest single from inside your deluxe edition. Now, this is kind of interesting because typically, if you release an album, a deluxe edition comes out 10, 20, 30, maybe even 40 years later. But this time you decided to re-release it with 7 brand new songs. That's an interesting rollout.
Yeah, I think we're living in a time where interesting rollouts are very much appropriate because it's an interesting time in the music industry. The rules are being broken left, right, and center. And
Mhm.
so there really isn't any downside to overpopulating the market with new creative work should you be inspired by it and should it be worthy of being released. And you know, we certainly deemed these songs that, and we were excited to share them, and we didn't want to like hoard them for the next album. And I think an implicit trust there that the next album will have its own aura, and there will be creative energy in that chapter. We can release as we go along without worrying about being dry down the road.
Yeah, yeah, you're getting out of that typical cycle of record, release, tour, take a break, do it all over again, whether that cycle is 2 or 3 years or something like that. And in this instance, when it's ready, get it out there.
Yeah, I certainly that was the case with the deluxe package, and it really gave a lot of life to our album cycle. We released in
Mhm.
June. It's amazing how fast a thing kind of falls off the
Mhm.
the wagon of public consciousness. I think attention is so kind of like fleeting and ephemeral these days. So I think it actually serves anyone quite well to re-inject energy in a given album cycle with something like a deluxe extension or new offerings, acoustic versions, what have you.
Or re-injecting the theme from a song that you released in 2009 and then completing it in 2022 because you interact with your fans and they kind of demanded of you to finish the story.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, it seemed like almost a preposterous idea, but then again, yeah, like you say, we shared the thought with the fan base, and the reaction was overwhelmingly affirming. And so at that point, it's like, well, we have to do it whether we like it or not because we put it out there into the universe, and it's and they are telling us that it should go down. I'm sure glad it did because it was a very unique songwriting challenge, and um, we love the song. The people seem to love the song, and live it just goes off like crazy. So it's just a win-win-win.
So in the last couple of years, TikTok has become a primary platform for people to disseminate their music. You can do it in 10-second streams. You can do it in 3 second or 3 minute streams if you like. I mean, there's a lot of wiggle room in there. You didn't know much about TikTok when you first got involved. Suddenly, you are the TikTok man.
Yes. Oh boy, that's such a title. The
You
TikTok.
can use that, by the way.
I'd probably stick to the TikTok ignoramus. Maybe
Uh-huh.
more appropriate because I still don't know what I'm doing. Um, yeah, I mean, it's hard to even know what to say about all that.
Yeah.
The-
Yeah, I think what it does, it kind of creates an entry point between artist and fan that we didn't have prior to the advent of social media.
oh, certainly, yeah. It's absolutely taken the veil away between fan and artist, and it's very authentic. It's very real, and it's very connective. And artists need to learn how to be themselves while also promoting their music without that veil, without that sheen of um, typical marketing strategies, because that's what translates and connects best on that app is you just hanging out, warts and all,
Mm.
um, doing something stupid or funny or profound, but it has to be very authentic, and if it's not, people see through that quite easily.
Is the has the what was it? Has the myth or the mystique of the artist, is that a thing of the past now?
Yeah, yeah. I think Mystique is now born from full reveal. It's I think that's where people are probably finding the mystique. Like, oh wow, like they're making toast and they're so alluring. I want to know more about that. Instead
Yeah.
of, they're hidden by a veil of fog and dark lights. I want to know more about that. I think people are still curious, intrigued. There's still mystery, but they're getting to it through the opposite channel, which is real life.
How often do you spend on platforms like that interacting? Do you have a schedule, or is it something you go to when you're inspired?
I mean, I try to just do it as much as possible.
Mhm.
Um, but I definitely fall in. My pattern is that I grow disenchanted and I just want to like take a break from it for
Mhm.
weeks. But then that doesn't really work because then your momentum kind of lulls and algorithms work or if they favor consistency and that kind of thing. So I'm still kind of learning how to be consistent while not losing my mind because
Mhm.
yeah, the demand for an artist to be engaged on social media is higher than ever. And
Mhm.
and everybody knows at this point that social media is a trapping for poor mental health. If you're stuck on it all day, living life through the lens of that distortion of reality. So you got to be careful, whoever you are, and I think artists especially.
Did you find yourself getting sucked into that social media rabbit hole in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I
I
mean, I
know I did.
still like today
Mm.
I will struggle with social media. It's it is the way it is now.
Mhm.
Like I know that as long as I'm doing this job and taking part in that aspect of the fan engagement and the marketing, I will struggle with a social media addiction. And that's just the way it is.
Mhm. Mhm. So, but you at least you get to kind of air it out a little bit when you get on the bus and you have sound checks and you have breakfast with the band and everything else that being on the road entails.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's still a big old life out there.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, these addictions, they're opportunities to refine one's will and discipline. So I think social media, because it's so um, tantalizing, will make me a stronger willed person in the end.
Mhm. So I have March the 18th for Toronto, which is tomorrow. That's what I got from the record company at History. Are you in town tomorrow?
No, that's wrong. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
got to be May.
Okay. May
Yeah,
18th in Toronto.
pretty sure. Yeah, don't
Okay then.
quote me on that 100%, but certainly May.
Nice. And you have what looks like a really interesting American tour in the summer, playing some great rooms. And I like to ask people, what's the favorite room? What's your favorite room that you've ever played?
Um, I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't think I have one, but we've been touring in America for like over 10 years now. And every time we go to Washington, D.C., we would play this smaller club called the Rock and Roll Cafe, I think,
Hmm.
um, or the hotel. It's not the chain, but its own little club in Washington, and it's cool, it's cute, it's small, it's grimy, it's edgy, but it almost felt like a purgatory because we kept going back and we kept playing this room for years and years and years, and every time we did, everyone would talk about how great this other club was in town, the 930 Club. And so for like a decade, it's like this mythic venue, the 930 Club. Will we ever get to play it? We just keep coming back to this venue, which we love and adore, but it's like, okay, it's time to elevate. And on this last tour at the beginning of the year, we finally got to play the 930 Club. And it totally lived up to its reputation. It's just like this three-tiered, really magnetic stage venue, and it was sold out, and it just like it went off. It was just a magical kind of career high. We finally made it. We got out of purgatory.
You're supposed to be heading over to Europe this summer as well, and I noticed that you were scheduled to play in Russia. Man, that must be bittersweet.
Yeah, I mean,
And
we
I'm
have,
sorry, I don't even know if bittersweet's the best way to describe it, but you know what I mean.
yeah, we our heart goes out to everyone in that region who's being affected. Um, and yeah, we're really sad about the whole state of affairs, of course, for humanitarian reasons, most of all. And then, yeah, we want to connect with our Russian fans. And we feel poorly that we're not able to. But most of all, we want peace and resolution in that area, not for us as a band, but just for the people.
How is your photography going?
It's good. Yeah. My camera got stolen with
Oh,
a magic lens. Like this lens was just from another world. It was like an old film lens, and my camera was mediocre, but the lens, it just captured the world in the way that I wanted to see it. And so both of those objects got stolen. And I got a better camera, but now I'm just trying to find the magic lens. So I'm a little frustrated right now in my pursuit of photography.
what is your favorite theme, if you will, when taking pictures, or do you just improvise?
Um, I like birds. I like
Mhm.
flowers. I like street photography. I like portraiture. But whatever it is, it has to be dark and kind of sad. Like even if it's a flower, it kind of needs to be moody. So I like capturing life, oftentimes the mundane or the pleasant, but then filtering it through this kind of macabre lens.
Does darkness kind of lift you up? That may be a weird question, but
Yeah,
in my life, darkness has given me a lift in the past.
I think darkness, I mean, it's so nuzzled up to joy. They're so kind of close. It like when you feeling the weight of the world, you're reminded that it can get better. I don't know, it's hard to articulate exactly, but certainly I do like that feeling of steeping in melancholy. I find it really artistic, and you just see the beauty, like the heartbreaking beauty of things. Um, and yeah, that offers a boost.
The humanities broad canvas. It's a
Yeah,
big picture.
totally. Yeah. And I mean, if everything was happy and good, that would be that would be boring. Yeah,
Mm,
we need the tragedy to give context to the victory. Um, yeah, it works together. Life is paradox. We're living to die. I mean,
mm,
you could just spend every day thinking about that and just how strange that is.
mhm. What are your plans for the rest of the day? Do you have any more of these to do?
I think this is the one and only. You're the one
Good
and
for you.
Um, I'm gonna head out to my buddy who has a studio and work on something special for the band that I can't talk too much about, but it's special.
Do you have a favorite place to be besides, at home with your coffee in the morning in the sunshine?
Um, I like going home to Quadra Island and hanging out at my mom's house or my dad's house and just like looking at the wind move the trees and chilling in silence.
Now, I haven't been to the islands, but Quadra is Vancouver Island on the east side, right?
Quadra is Vancouver Island on the north side.
Okay, okay. And a whole different world there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, island life is like otherworldly, 100%.
Good for you. Well, I'm really excited that you guys are getting out on the road again. Congrats on the new deluxe set for Inside. And we'll see you at History in May.
In May.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
Ryan,
having me. Thanks for the support. It means the
a
world.
pleasure to be a pleasure to have you. And sorry, I'm cutting you off. It's funny, we have a little latency here. So
Oh, fun.
nice to see you. Hopefully, we can do this in person sometime when things get back to normal.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Likewise.
Take care.
Ryan from Mother Mother.